There's some very good news is that JWST will be offering 8,500 hours for observations in cycle 4 compared to 5,500 hours in cycle 3. So this is an increase of almost 50%. This increase is mainly due to the completion of GTO and ERS programs. It's not due to an increase in the observing efficiency because it has remained quite high since the beginning of science operations. And this has been the case even in spite of the mass constraint, thanks to an increased buffer of programs that allow to do the schedule in a very efficient way. So, however, we do not expect an increase in the grant pool. So the increase in observing time that will naturally lead to an increase in the number of programs that will be approved will impact the funding available to each of these programs. And STSCI is working on budget preparation guidelines for cycle 4, and these guidelines will be announced at a later date. Based on the cycle 3 proportional allocations, these are the number of hours that we are anticipating for the different size categories. You have them here, and of course, the exact allocations will depend upon the cycle 4 proposal pressure. So we won't know exactly until we get all the proposals. And this is a good moment to introduce that we have changed the boundaries of these proposal sizes. As you can see, there is a new proposal category here called very small, and these are the new boundaries. So very small programs are those that request less or equal to 20 hours, and these are evaluated by the external panels. Small is programs that are between 20 and 50 hours, and these are evaluated by the discussion panels. Then we have the medium that are between 50 and 130 hours, and those goes to the discussion panels as well. And finally, the large programs are the programs that request for more than 130 hours, and they go to the executive committee. And the reason why we did this was in response to recommendations by the JSTAC, by the JWST user committee, because we needed to achieve a more balanced workload and responsibility in time allocation between the external, the discussion, and the executive committee. Discussion and executive committee had a very heavy workload in life cycle, so we are increasing the amount of proposals that are evaluated by the externals, because for the externals we have the ability to just recruit more external reviewers, so that the workload for everyone stays at a comfortable level. Let me talk a bit now about who reviews what, in addition to what I just said, and what are the changes that are going to happen in cycle 4 for the review process. So the first thing to notice is that to reduce the workload on the executive committee has been split in two. This is not only to reduce the workload, but this also to better match reviewers' expertise. So now there will be a galactic executive committee and an extragalactic executive committee. Each will have its own chair, and each one will be composed by the chair, by the chairs of all the panels that correspond to the galactic, or either galactic or the extragalactic themes, and also by vice chairs. This is something new to this cycle, is that discussion panels will have both chairs and vice chairs. The vice chairs will not be reviewing discussion proposals. It will be helping the panel chair in the panel chair duties, and the vice chair will participate as a panelist in the executive committee. And also, so this is a way to populate this executive committee, is a way to help the panel chairs with their duties, and also is a way to alleviate proposal conflicts, because we had many cases where the panel chair had to step out and assign an interim panel chair because of conflicts, and now we will have a vice chair already assigned rather than selecting a panel member for this duty. So who reviews what? The external panels, these are the ones that do their work asynchronously. They don't meet. So they will be reviewing, as I said, the very small geo programs and also all regular archival programs. Discussion panels will be reviewing small and medium geo programs and also all target of opportunity and survey programs, regardless of their size. And the executive committee will review the large geo programs, the treasury geo programs, the legacy archival programs, and other requests for substantial resources, like the pure parallel programs. As I said, external panels don't meet, and the discussion panels will meet virtually the week of February 3rd, and the executive committees both will meet the following week. And the notifications of the outcome of the process will be sent to all proposers in early March of 2025. And then the budget submission deadline will be in April 10th of 2025. And as I said, there will be new guidelines that will be announced at a later date. We will have 18 discussion panels corresponding to updated scientific categories. And this is because the scientific categories and the science keywords have been changed to better match JWST science topic distribution. Many of the scientific categories and the science keywords that we have been using up to now were inherited from HST, and of course JWST is covering different wavelengths, and therefore it also introduced different distribution of the science, right? So the new categories are listed here in the table. And the number in parentheses correspond to the number of panels that we have per category. You see solar system stays the same, is obviously to observe solar system objects. And then we have exoplanet, atmospheres, and habitability. This is to study atmospheric properties, chemical composition of exoplanets. Then we have exoplanetary system formation and dynamics. This is for planet formation studies, protoplanetary disks, dynamical modeling. Then we have star and stellar populations. If you remember before, we had stellar physics and stellar populations as two separate categories. Well, now we have them together, and these are for proposals studying the physics of individual stars and clusters in the Milky Way and nearby galaxies, and also the global properties of resolved stellar populations in nearby galaxies. And then we have a new category called gas, dust, and the ISM, because we are working on the infrared, so it makes sense to have this as a separate category. And then for extragalactic, we have nearby galaxies to cosmic noon. And this is to study galaxy formation and evolution, galaxy clusters, up to C of 2 or 3. Then we have high redshift galaxies and the distant universe, and this is for galaxy formation and evolution, clusters, groups, large-scale structure, and this is for C beyond 3. And then we have supermassive black holes and active galaxies, which is similar to the category we had before. Very important. Please pay a lot of attention here. We thought about using neon lights for the call, because this is very important. Page limits have been reduced substantially. In most cases, they have been halved. This is in response to a recommendation by the JWST and is in line with other major observatories. So the bulk of the PDF should be the scientific justification and then the technical description for geo programs or the analysis plan for archival programs. And the templates have been updated accordingly. So in this table, you can see what are the new page limits. So for very small geo programs, future cycle geo programs, this is a new term that refers to the proposals where you are applying for time for up to 3 subsequent cycles. In this case, will be cycles 4, 5, and 6. So before we call them long-term programs, now we call them future cycles. So remember this change. So for these that are shown here in the table, calibration programs, survey, regular AR, cloud computing, theory, and data science, the total page limit is 4 pages. And you have then 1 additional page for the sections in case that your proposal is requesting a special requirement, or you have to justify coordinated parallel observations, or you have to justify duplications or coordinated observations with other facilities. If your proposal needs to cover these items, if you are requesting this, then you have that additional page to discuss all these items together. So 4 + 1, that's the page limit. For medium and combined geo-archival proposals, you have 5 pages maximum, plus 1 additional page also to cover these items listed here on the right. And for large programs, treasury, geo programs, and legacy archival programs, you have 6 pages plus this 1 additional page. So for joint proposals, you should determine whether your proposal is very small, small, medium, or large based on the number of JWST hours that you are requesting, including the overheads. One note regarding director discretionary time proposals. If you are submitting a proposal after cycle 4 starts, that's July 1st next year, then you need to follow these new page limit guidelines, because those proposals submitted after July 1st, 2025 correspond to cycle 4. But if you are going to submit a proposal between now and June 30, 2025, then you're going to be following cycle 3 proposal guidelines, including cycle 3 page limits. So this is something that might be a bit confusing and is spelled out in the call, but I wanted to point it out here. A few more notes regarding page limits. The proposals that exceed these page limits will be subject to disqualifications. There are no limits to the number of figures of tables, but they count against the page limits. What doesn't count against the page limits are the references, and we don't require any particular format. So if you want to use numbers to save space, you are welcome to do so. And we recommend everyone to have at least 1 page to the technical description and the analysis plan, for technical description and analysis plan. But we don't establish any requirement, but this is just a recommendation. And one very important note, well, and of course, don't change the font size that is in the templates, and don't change the margins, because this can also lead to disqualification. And this includes the figure captions. We don't want to have a lot of text in the figure captions in very small font. So figure captions should also use a font 12. So this is very important, and this is why it's in boldface. The observing description in the APT will not be visible for tag reviewers. So you should not use that free text field as a replacement for page limit space, because in the past, that description could be seen by the tag, but this time will not. Moving forward, it will not. That description in the APT is for us. So it's not for the tag. So anything you want the tag to know, you should put it in the PDF. So talking about APT. So there is a talk about this that will be given in a few minutes. This is just highlighting that please mark the APT cover sheet appropriately, because if these fields are not marked, the ones that are highlighted here in the red arrows, if these fields are not marked and in the APT cover sheet, those requests may not be met, even if they are described in the proposal. So the tag may favor your proposal and may favor those requirements, but these proposals are later processed automatically, and if it is not in the APT, we might not be able to detect them on time so that we can implement your program as you have requested it. So please, all your requirements needs to go in the APT cover sheet and in the APT appropriately. Again, all special requirements must be listed both in the PDF and in the APT. So all visit level and exposure level special requirements must be itemized in the proposal and have a scientific justification. They must be discussed explicitly in the special requirements section of the PDF attachment, because if you are asking for something special, it requires resources, and we need to know if it is scientifically justified and if it is backed up by the tag. But they also must be listed in the special requirements section of the APT, because we need to be able to detect those requirements when we process the proposals automatically. And it must be marked, as I said, on the APT cover sheet. And again, failure to do so may lead to those requirements not being met. And here is a list of some of these requirements. I'm not going to go into the detail, so you can see them here. A better position angle, information about the targets of opportunity observations that you are requested, time constraint observations, etc. A few words about joint JWST proposals. As in previous cycles, we are offering the opportunity to apply for joint observations with ALMA, Chandra, HST, NASA KEC, Neuer Lab, NRAO, and XMM. And it's an or, so you can apply, you can use not only, you can apply for JWST time with one or more than one of these observatories. Joint proposals should be submitted only once to the facility that represents the prime science. I don't mean that you cannot submit it in subsequent cycles, but what I mean is that for this particular cycle, if you are applying, for example, to ALMA and JWST, you have to identify which observatory represents the prime science and just submit it to one of the call of proposals, right? So proposers are responsible for fulfilling all the necessary requirements requested by the partner observatory. And let me give you an example. So proposals where JWST is secondary, so you will not be answering our call of proposals, but the call of proposals of the other partner observatory, because JWST is secondary. Well, our requirements is that you still submit an APT file shortly after the deadline of that call. So that's a requirement that we have, because we need to do a go, no-go assessment before that proposal is evaluated by the partner observatory. But, you know, not all partner observatories have this go and no-go assessment. So you have to check in our call what is required from you if you are submitting to us as prime, but you are submitted to another observatory as a secondary observatory. So just pay attention to the call, pay attention to the instructions there. If you have this joint program, which is referred as multi-observatory in APT, you must mark it in the cover sheet. You can see it. We can go here. So you see that there is a multi-observatory check mark here. So you need to mark it in the cover sheet. And so it has to be there. It has to be discussed, of course, in the PDF. Under coordinated observations, and you have to put the necessary time requirement in the coordinated telescope sections of APT. So just a note regarding the exclusive access period, the current default is still 12 months, but as we pointed out a year ago when we released the Cycle 3 call, the discussions are still ongoing regarding a possible reduced non-zero value. And at this time, there are no decisions that have been made. And the feedback from the community that resulted from that community survey that we had a while back is an important factor in the outcome. But for the moment, there are no changes for now. And regarding, since everybody, regarding the reuse of published text and dual anonymous review. So the proposals may not include substantial verbatim extracts from previously published material, including white papers or accepted proposals. Because if you include this information, we will be able to identify the authors of the proposals, not we, but the reviewers. And this is something that goes against dual anonymous review. And proposals violating these requirements are subject to disqualification. And you can see more information in the call of proposals regarding this. And since everybody's talking about artificial intelligence, we have to say something about it. NASA currently does not have any policy regarding the use of artificial intelligence tools to support proposal writing and review. And in the meantime, we are adopting the National Science Foundation recommendations. If you are a reviewer, you are forbidden from uploading proposal content or review material to this type of tool since it violates the confidentiality of the review process. This makes perfect sense. I mean, it's obvious, but we want to make it clear that people that are acting as reviewers should not do this. And if you are a proposer, we discourage the use of this type of tools in constructing your proposals. If you use those tools, you might describe it, how you use them as part of the proposal submission. And this statement should be included in the team expertise section. And also, just a reminder that using this type of tools will place your text in the public domain.